Hello and welcome to Crafty Concepts with Erin. Today I'm going to put together a single page layout featuring the Hawthorn Collection. Now I'm pretty much down to nothing but scraps in this collection. I have gotten a lot of mileage out of it. This photo I'm going to be scrapbooking today is of my son and an orphan deer that we had briefly. So I'm going to start by adding some texture paste to my base page here. So we have the Ranger texture paste, and then I have my tools here. So what I'm going to do is just put down this all-purpose mat to work on, and I have the light side of the charcoal colored cardstock there, and I'm just going to randomly apply the texture paste on the side here. I already have an idea in my head of what I want this layout to look like, so I'm just putting the texture paste where I think it's going to show as a border around the edge of my layout. So I may need to, after I add the paper on, I may need to add some here or there, so we'll see how well I do just by eyeballing it here. This is going to be a rustic layout, so I'm just using this texture paste to kind of add some rustic texture and just a little distressing around the edge of my cardstock here. So as a note, or as a reminder, always clean up your texture paste before it dries. It can be difficult to get off of the tools once it's dried. So as soon as you're done, just kind of wipe it down with a baby wipe or a damp washcloth, and then it cleans up really easily. So I did let this dry for just a little bit. It didn't take too long, but you do want it to be dry and hardened before you start doing any further work on the surface. So I'm just trimming down my patterned paper here and just working with the scraps that I have left over. I love this paper pack so much that I actually ordered a second pack just for myself because it's in the current catalog, which only goes through the end of this month, the month of October. So if you love this paper collection as much as I do, you might want to add this to your collection before it is no longer available, and it's why supplies last as well. So anyway, I'll have a link in the description below where you can find this paper package. So I am going to be tucking my journaling behind that plaid paper, so I was careful to only apply adhesive mainly on the side and the lower half. So we'll come back to that in the end of the video. I also did add a piece of the sapphire cardstock, which is what I matted my photo with. That is just a piece from my stash. It did not come with the collection. So I'm just using my tape runner to get everything in place. And then these, when you get the Hawthorn workshop, all these pieces were already cut out, and you can follow the blueprints exactly, which I almost never do. So it's just kind of fun to get creative with all these bits and pieces to see what I can come up with. But already having everything kind of cut out, this layout came together very quickly for me. I just kind of pulled the embellishments that I thought would look nice with this layout and then just kind of worked them around the page. So we have these wooden shapes here, and you can do some really neat things. You can add inking to these to stain them different colors, but I really like the natural wood look, so I'm just going to leave them raw. And I thought this little buck was perfect, being as how my layout was about this little orphaned fawn. So this is the complements that come along with it, and then the wooden shapes. So I'm just kind of compiling all the bits and pieces to see what I want to use on this layout. And I'm just going to kind of roughly tuck them around the side before I commit to adhering anything down. So this is the coordinating sticker sheet that comes with the Hawthorn Collection, and there's this title, Autumn Days. I'm not 100% sure I want to use this, so I'm just going to take a little bit of baby powder and rub it on the back to remove that adhesive so I can move it about the page and see where I like it before committing to securing it down. So I'm thinking about the bottom there, but not 100% sure, so I move it around the page to the top, and I think we can all agree it looks better on the bottom. So now I can use my tape runner and make that a sticker again. So I'm just going to place the little embellishments about the page. They have these little wooden stars and wooden arrows, and there is this zip strip that comes off the end of one of the pattern papers. So you could use it as a long border or trim each individual phrase and use them separately, which is what I am doing here. So I'm just kind of auditioning these about the page, and I think maybe less is more, so I'm just going to use the one and get rid of the one on top there. So yeah, we'll stay with the 3 and just create a little visual triangle with the word phrases. So I'm using the Tombow liquid adhesive to adhere these wooden shapes, and that works really well. It's a nice strong adhesive. So then we can just go around and tuck these leaves. I just like to fold up the ends just to give it a little bit of texture there. So you're probably wondering why we have an orphan deer. Well, my husband was headed to work early one morning, and when he got to the job site where he was working at the time, there was a doe who had been hit by a car. And this was her fawn, and he was trapped down in the bottom of the quarry, in a rock quarry, kind of stuck in a mud pit, and he was very cold and wet and muddy, and so my husband scooped him up and wrapped him in a jacket and brought him home. And we have goats and livestock and whatnot, so we were able to give the little guy a bottle of goat milk, which he was happy to have. And so we just had him with us for a little while before the wildlife rescue could come and take him. So my youngest son just has a heart for the animals, and of course, took the job of feeding him while he was in our care. So I have printed my journaling up on my computer and cut it to fit down behind that piece of plaid pattern paper. So I've just punched out a little tab and attached it to the top. And I'm using this, this is a new alphabet font. It's called the Tiny Type, and it is very tiny. So it's perfect for something like this. And I'm just spelling out the word pull so that people will know that there is some hidden journaling tucked there behind there. And I'll have this in a top loading page protector, so you'll be able to just kind of reach in since it's close to the top and pull that right out. So this is just a fun way. If you have a lot of journaling and only one photo, you can add it that way. So this is the finished layout. You can see that texture paste around the side adds just kind of a nice distressed rustic feel. I know I've said it several times, but I just love this paper collection. I think the colors and the fall leaves and just the wooden embellishments, everything is just so pretty. Of course, I do love fall, so of course I would naturally be drawn to these embellishments and paper collection. But if you love it as much as I do, just remember it's only available through the month of October. So for more information, you can visit my blog at craftyconceptswitherin.com. I'll have a supply list of all the products that I used and more information and still shots of this particular layout. So if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing so you don't miss what's coming next week. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you